Brendan, welcome.
Yeah, thanks.
You are the map room.
One of
the map room? So who is the
50%, 50 or 25, depending on the scenario. Yeah, depending if we're live or not, yeah. But yeah, me and Simon, we kind of started the whole thing, but after our first record, we got together 4 dudes.
Yeah.
Sorry, 2 other guys, so now we're 4. So we have Andy and Jared, so we're kind of 4 people now, I guess. But
so is that full-time or?
For us, you mean?
Yeah.
No, we still work as engineers, so we kind of do it, I guess, it's kind of on the side, but we're kind of doing it more and more. I mean, around this kind of period, when we release a record, we're doing it like all the time.
Yeah.
But it's not enough at the moment to like pay our bills and everything like that, so we're still kind of doing it on the side, but it's kind of tied in a little bit with our work, you know, being engineers and stuff. So yeah.
So as audio engineers, does working with other artists help with your own creative processes?
Yeah, I think so. I think like Simon ended up going more. When we met, we were studying audio engineering, so he went more music, and afterwards, and I went more sort of post-production, film and TV. So he kind of works more with artists in musical kind of way. I sort of work more on film, advertising, and TV shows. I work on music every now and then, but I think you definitely can learn a lot from the way that other people work. You get exposed to a lot of things, and you know, different production techniques and what people might be using to create their stuff and ideas that they have, and like anything you would throw in the pot, I think from engineering you just soak it up. So when it comes to us being in the studio, you draw on your own experience from, you know, your interactions with what you've done with other people, and yeah, and the way they work, what they're putting together, ways that it might not work well with them, you know. I mean, we take ages to make stuff, so so I don't know if it's totally like a well-oiled machine in that sense that we're just like, man, we've streamlined our approach now that we've seen how everyone else works. But like, I think, yeah, totally. Like, it's like anything. Like, you be around people, you gain experience, and you learn like the best way to work. Yeah.
So do you get too many chefs sort of situation, having 2 audio engineers working on the same album?
We're pretty good. Like, we tend to kind of have a reasonably common focus towards what we're after, and I think we kind of like butt heads a little bit at times, but it's always kind of in a good way around a decision. Like, I don't think we've ever had a point that it's like, I want it this way, I want it that way, and we go to fight for that. We kind of try to see the other person's point of view as to the best way it might be treated, and kind of chase something, and within time it seems to just work itself out so far between us with the approach. I mean, for us, like, especially with our own stuff, it's been more about the music than the engineering kind of side. You know, the fact that we're engineers kind of helps us in the sense that we can make our own stuff and we don't have to pay someone else to do it. But yeah, I think that it's always been about the songs and the best way the songs can be treated, and we've kind of almost can put on a different hat for that side of it, if that makes any sense. Yeah.
So your first album was largely inspired by a lot of your travelling through South America. So, apparently you also toured through India.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about that?
That's crazy, yeah. What? So yeah, like we, maybe about 6 months after we released the first record, we just got an email from a guy called Anuj in India, and I think he was like a friend of a friend of a friend. But anyway, he said, hey, just wanted to get in touch, you know, love the album, well done what you guys are doing, we love it, and great. And you know, we sort of replied and said thanks very much, like it's really nice to hear that, maybe we'll come over one day. And then like a year and a half later, he kind of followed on from the same email chain. He was like, by the way, I was like, what? And he's like, by the way, I'm promoter for this festival, one of the promoters who books artists in India, called NH7 Weekender, kind of like a laneway kind of festival that tours around 4 or 5 main centres in India. Really cool vibes. Gave me a link to a bunch of stuff, and we checked it out and talked to the dudes, and we thought, why not? Like, let's go over there. And so we booked up to go over, and it was like totally amazing. It was the coolest festival. We would like Delhi, Pune, Bangalore. We spent a week in Mumbai. We played like a show there at a little club. Crowds were amazing. Yeah, people like lapped up the songs, and it was like a really awesome thing because I'd always wanted to go there anyway. But going there with music and part of this awesome festival, and we became friends with Anuj out of the whole thing, and did karaoke with him in Mumbai, tried to nail a Toto Africa. Yeah, it was awesome. Yeah, it was high goals. Yeah, we really. But no, India was amazing. It was super cool. And we worked on the record there as well. You know, because we had that kind of travel thing happening with our first one, and then the second one we were trying to rework a little bit as we were away and playing those songs to, you know, a couple of shows we probably had 3,000 or 4,000 or 5,000 people there watching us. And, you know, like, you have people dancing and, you know, we had these little songs, and once you take it back to the studio to record it, like, it sort of affects the way you work on the song a little bit, thinking about how you could build it up a little bit more. You know that, you know, you felt the energy from people at that certain point. When that hits, you think, oh, we did to tweak that a little bit in the song or something. So it kind of affected a little bit of the recording, I think.
So you think you're looking slightly more towards how it works live rather than just on...
I think so, totally. Yeah, with this record, I think it was more... I mean, we obviously write the songs without an audience, so you're kind of there in your own bubble, but we played a lot of the record before we went to record it. You know, for most of the shows, I think. This is the whole thing. You work on the songs so long, by the time you start playing them, or the record comes out, you're kind of sick of the songs a little bit at times, so you start working on new stuff. But, no, totally. We started getting to that point that we were, like, tweaking things because we knew how it was working live or how it wasn't working live, and yeah, like maybe having it inform the decisions a little bit. I mean, I think it still is what excites us at the time, you know. If you're working on something, you go, that's awesome, let's chase that. But maybe some of the live thing feeds into that decision on a sort of subconscious level.
So obviously India's a great place. Would you looking to go back again?
Totally. Yeah, man, we'd love to do it. If not because we totally missed the Taj Mahal. I know, it's kind of one of the funny things within the band now. Like, we were in Delhi, because Taj Mahal's only like 3 or 4 hours away from Delhi, and we always said we got to go back to do this because we were at the morning. We had a driver. They gave all the bands a driver, and we were either going to go to the Taj Mahal one day or go to this restaurant called Kareem's in Old Delhi. And Andy, our drummer, like, was super keen to go to the Taj. Course, like, world landmark, like, come on. And we were like, oh yeah, I don't know, this restaurant sounds really awesome, and it's like featured in a bunch of books, so it was like democracy, and we went to the restaurant and we all got sick. Oh, no. And so now it's like, okay, we have to go back to India because we have to see the Taj Mahal, but also to play the shows because it'd be awesome to tour it with a new record, and the shows were amazing, and so yeah, we'd love to go back.
Where else would you like to tour?
Wherever, really. We'd love to go to Australia. Like, we've got a bunch of people there who are keen to see us. Like, we keep getting messages from over there, and we're getting a bit of traction over there, which is super cool. And Andy, our drummer, is actually originally from Australia, so we'll probably look to there sooner than anything, and anywhere, really. Yeah, wherever they'll have us. Like, we'll probably look to do some more shows around New Zealand, and then maybe look at what's viable to go around and tour and just see how the record goes. Sort of only came out, you know, a few days ago, so see what sort of traction, see if we can jump on some festivals or something. Would be awesome. It's such a great way to travel, you know. Go see some new places, but do it with music and, you know, cover your costs hopefully as well, which would be nice. Yeah. Can we sit with this?
So, you've got you, Simon, Jared, and Andy.
Yeah.
So you guys, obviously, Simon's in Wellington?
Simon's in Welly, yeah.
So you guys are all over the place?
The other 3 of us are up here, and then, but he, because being engineering, like, he's up here all the time for work. He often records a lot of stuff up here, and then we'll take it down there to mix and that, and he'll come up. It's pretty easy. We've kind of got a good system going with it now.
You had a post recently about a Skype session with some vocal recordings.
Yeah. Or actually, no, that was a really good red herring. No, that wasn't exactly the Skype was because I was just in another room in the same building. Yeah, that was good though. I probably shouldn't give on that one. Yeah, I was. It was because they had no link between the both, so he was just had a video. There's a little bit of magic there.
Good use of technology.
Good use of technology either way. Yeah, Skype should give us some money for that.
Free advertising.
Yeah, totally. No, but it all seems to work with him being down there. We thought, you know, when he moved down, his girlfriend works with the government and a really great job, and so it totally made sense for him to go down there after a while. And at the start, we were a bit like, oh shit, I hope this will work, you know, for everyone, and it's been really fine. Like, if anything, having that little bit of distance has kind of meant that we can work on stuff ourselves and build stuff up to a point that we're happy and then send it, rather than just splurging every new idea on the other person and just going like, hey, here's something I've got, without even really having the time to think about, you know, when you go through the process of building something up, you know, if it's kind of half good, and then you can send it away. And we do stuff backwards and forwards and hang out a bunch anyway, so it all seems to work for us. Yeah.
So for those that aren't aware of your music, how would you describe your sound?
That's always the $1 million question, isn't it? I guess it's indie pop. With the first record, it kind of, in some reviews and sort of descriptors, it sort of became known as sort of like atmospheric indie pop. I mean, but I think it kind of straight indie pop, even kind of bordering on rock sort of stuff, is probably a pretty good way to describe us. Alternative, remember the alternative category on iTunes? It's quite a wide net to cast. But yeah, like the bands that kind of, I think, are relatable to us are sort of bands like Metronomy, Spoon, Radiohead, The National. These are just the bands I like heaps. But that kind of world, you know, like you can kind of get an idea of the sort of band from that sort of thing. I don't think we like fit into any of one of those bands categories 100%, but it's sort of a melting pot of that kind of stuff. But yeah, alternative indie pop, I guess. Yeah.
So I know with like a lot of rock and heavy sort of stuff, people will often use that as a way to unleash their emotions or let go of some rage. What will the listeners get from your albums?
I think that's a good question. I mean, we're really strong on writing good songs. I think we try to work stuff up so they're playable well on like acoustic instruments, stuff that can be whittled down. I'm a huge Beatles fan, and one thing I love about them is just the songs. You know, the songs are so good. They're so simple at times, and it's such a great use of melody and harmony and chords. I think, you know, you can get a bit of that from us. I feel like they're strong songs and big melodies. I think lyrically, I mean, we kind of explore the stuff that we're kind of, I guess, going through or like thinking about at the time through our lyrics. And that's one of the coolest things about records sometimes, I think, as well, is that with making them, is that you sort of have a period of time where you're writing a lot of music, and then you put out the album, and then you go and listen to it kind of almost objectively, and then you go, oh, far out, there's a real thread running through this, that I was feeling a certain way or whatever. And with the first record, maybe it was a bit of displacement and, you know, where the hell are we going and what's the plan, and I don't know, a lot of that kind of stuff. With the new one, maybe it's more about looking forwards, looking back. And so I think there's, if, you know, people are into some sort of lyrical depth, there probably is some there. It's reasonably honest, I think, from our point of view. Yeah.
So your latest album, you just released last week?
Friday, yeah.
Weatherless?
Weatherless.
So it seems a bit more of a mature album. Yeah. How much has it really changed from debut to the song now?
Yeah, I think it's more we've found our footing a little bit. You know, when we made the first album, it felt like just completely the two of us, and it was really. We came back from that trip and just had all these songs, and we decided we were both engineers, and we thought, let's start making an album. And so it kind of got born out of that, and it was almost like the band for real started at that point once the album came out, and then from there. And so this kind of record is more probably built as us being a band and finding our confidence a little bit with playing shows. I mean, you know about that whole imposter syndrome thing, you know, where people feel like they're in a situation and they just like, you know, happens to people at work, happens to everybody's like, what am I doing here? Like, I'm totally unqualified for this position. And me and Simon have felt like that heaps, you know, because we've always been guys in the band. I mean, we've played for a long time, but I was always the drummer in bands and have been drummer in a lot of bands. He was always the guitarist. We've never imagined ourselves as front people, and have just kind of fallen into the role. And I think through the course of making the record and playing shows and recording, we've sort of found ourselves. I still don't think we're 100% there. We can be like, yeah, we're front people, you know. Like sometimes I watch front people and I just go, man. But I think there's a real, maybe we're finding a little bit of confidence, and we're kind of a little bit more settled with the role and with being, I don't know, fronting a band and writing songs that we can kind of, you know, little steps of validation along the way. You know, even someone turning up to a show and you go, I can't believe that person's here. to see us. There's like no band on after us they're here to see. They must be here to see us, you know. And there's like stuff like that, and so maybe all that kind of thing is fed into this record. And I think also, yeah, like I was saying before about the trip, being back from the trip. Now, like I look at it lyrically and think a lot of it is the record is about kind of being in the moment. Or so much you frame so much looking forwards or looking backwards in life in general. You know, like the anxiety about the future or anxiety about the past. Oh, I was so good back then, or it could be so good then, and the kind of struggle to just be happy or to be present now, and not necessarily about coming from a place of we've reached that point and just sitting here like really zen. You know, and like, oh, it's such a happy place, but kind of more exploring that whole thing of just what it is to be at sort of age and looking forwards with a whole lot of cool stuff in the past and hopefully a whole lot of cool stuff in the future, and assessing it all and trying to put like a marker down now and just be aware and feel what's going on right now.
So, your influences then. It's like, what sort of music did you grow up with? And what was your first album that you purchased yourself?
Yeah, I think my mum's a huge music fan, so I think we grew up with like a lot of Fleetwood Mac. She was a big Elton John fan. Dad's a huge Elton John fan, like Bee Gees, all that kind of stuff. Really good harmonies. I think the first album I ever bought was Nevermind, which is like super cool. I know, it's so weird because whenever you say that, everyone's like, yeah, right, yeah, nice one. But it actually was.
Yeah.
I know. But I think I probably had a whole lot of lame albums. I think I probably bought Nevermind at the same time I bought like Aqua's album or something. And it's like, I'll just say Nevermind. But yeah, like I think there's a whole world of stuff going on. One thing that was quite cool, I sort of learnt drums. I learnt piano first and then drums. And with the drums, I sort of got a lot of mum and dad's albums and put them on to learn to. I had like a little kit in my room, and so I ended up playing along to a whole lot of stuff, especially like, yeah, Fleetwood Mac albums, Jethro Tull. It wasn't like anything awesome and rocky like Zeppelin and stuff like that, but it was kind of more your classic pop. From mum's a huge like Carpenters fan. All those quite really good songs, Burt Bacharach, all that kind of like, kind of cheesy now, but also when you whittle it down, like pretty good songs.
Yeah.
You know, I think Simon had a bit more of a rocky kind of situation going on. Like he was a huge Zeppelin fan. It also depends on the instrument you end up finding.
Yeah.
Like if you're being a guitarist, so many guitarists to like hear Jimmy Page for the first time and just go, oh man. Or I was kind of more piano vibes. Sort of went for more of those kind of songs like Elton and yeah, somewhere around there.
One of your songs, was it The Other Animal?
Mm-hmm. Other Animal, yeah.
You've got some lyrics in there, sort of, I suppose, rather anti-social networks, anti the sort of the constantly being connected to other people without being connected to other people sort of thing.
Yeah.
Do you find it slightly ironic that you kind of need to be connected to everyone in such a way with your being in the music industry?
Yeah. No, big time. I think, especially with that one, it's not so much coming from a position of being anti, you know, this is something I see happening and I think it sucks. It's kind of more questioning the whole thing, you know, like anything, I guess, you ponder it and you sit there and you go like, what is the effects of all this? And I think there's, especially something with like social media, there's great ways to use it, you know, it's an amazing tool. I think about it now, like I've never really been in I was in some terrible bands when I was young, but never in a position I needed to push it out to people. But never really been in a position of like needing to push a band out there without social media or without the internet. And sometimes I sit there and I think like, how the hell did it even happen back in the day? Like if you're a band trying to gain some traction, you're trying to gain an audience, I guess you had to play a lot live and you had to rely on local radio. And you know, you can kind of, and tour, you can drive your own situation though now from your bedroom and you can try and get things happening. So that use of it's great, and the interconnectivity is awesome. Like, but I think also there's a whole lot of anxiety and stuff that comes with it, and not being quite present and feeling like you are going out a lot because you see a lot of what other people are up to, but in reality you haven't left your house in a week. You know, and I think the song is more, I think, questioning that sort of just like looking at the situation and kind of questioning it all, rather than coming from a position of like anti-technology and anti-social media. It's because I think I fall into that trap myself a lot. You know, like you're just cruising Facebook or something, and you just find yourself, you just go, "What am I doing?" It's kind of like, and I took it off my phone, and then you just find you use it in other ways. It's sort of like crack. It's weird. It's so weirdly addictive, and it's such a new.
You get that one golden nugget of information that keeps you hooked for the next few hours.
Yeah.
Hoping you find something else like that.
Yeah, or you just cruise it like all day, just with nothing really new happening, and you just scroll past posts you've already seen. And I mean, I think it's something that everyone clocks and everyone knows, and it's such an easy thing to criticize. I think it's more just, yeah, I think with the song, maybe it's more just, yeah, throwing the question out there about it and pondering the situation rather than being completely anti it. Because I love technology. I love the idea of everything that's happening in the future, and I don't think I'm one of those people that buys into this idea that, oh, the past is so beautiful. You know, the past is always looked on with such rosy glasses, you know, as to how things used to be, and if we could only get back there, then everything would be fine. But every kind of generation have its challenges, and every generation fears for the one coming after it as well. Like at the moment, it's all the parents going like, "Oh God, well, Johnny's he's spending way too much time on Facebook." But at the same time, I think there's certain things that could be flagged, and when it comes to relationships and the way they interact with people and stuff, that's a total game changer, and that's a super fascinating thing to explore, you know, with lyrics and with music and with anything. Yeah.
So, what's next?
I think, yeah, we'll start writing more music, I guess. Well, we already have. We're playing a new song we played one on Friday and Saturday at the release shows, which is super exciting, you know, to have something new on the go. Kind of, we'd been living with this package of songs for so long. To shift gears into the writing new stuff is really cool. And again, what we were saying before about the new album, like having even more confidence now with maybe songwriting and feeling like, okay, this is something that I feel like we can do, and we're getting better at the more we try to do it. And, you know, you sit down and it's exciting. So that's cool. I guess we'll play a lot more shows. We're playing one next month, I think, for Music Month. I'm not exactly sure when. But, yeah, just keep playing and keep pushing music around, and hopefully do a bit of touring, hopefully go to Australia, which would be awesome, and make a new album, hopefully in a lot less time.
Not another 3 years?
Maybe like 2, maybe 1.
Would you be looking at doing any collaborations? Who would you like to work with?
Yeah, I'd love to. I'd love to produce someone else's stuff. I mean, Simon does a bunch of that, and I know he finds it really good and exciting, and I will kind of work in that sort of capacity every now and then with producing like some music or something for ads. But when you don't have that kind of emotional connection to the work, you're not like right in there. You can kind of have a nice objective view of it all, and you can be a little bit more cutthroat and a little bit more clear about your decisions. I think when you're working on your own stuff, you get quite lost sometimes in bits that you got attached to, you know, sometimes even with lyrics or the way that a chord will fall against a melody, and you just go, that's my favorite bit. And then once you start putting it together, you realize that isn't working, but you're so reluctant to let it go because you knew how much you loved it. Whereas in a producer role, you don't have that kind of bit where you're writing it and you love that. So you can just go, that bit doesn't work, get rid of it. And so I think, yeah, producing would be fun. I mean, I'd love to work with anyone. Anyone would be great. I mean, obviously the New Zealand greats would be amazing. Like, I love all those. There's so much amazing New Zealand music out there, like Conan and Liam Finn and Phoenix Foundation, and a huge Phoenix Foundation fan, and like even just meeting those dudes would be awesome. I think they liked a photo of ours on Instagram, and I was like, yes. Yeah, I reckon they're amazing. Fandango is like one of the best New Zealand records I reckon like in the last 20 years, and yeah, I'd love to, you know, do some with those guys, or just, I don't know, whoever wants to come along really. But if not, we're just happy mincing away and doing our own little thing and keep trying to just write songs and build it up and see what happens. Maybe in 2 or 3 years, write another album, then look back at the lyrics and go, oh, that's what was happening in those 2 or 3 years. That's what I was thinking about. Yeah.
Good. Well,
Good, man. Thank you. Great interview.